The top 25 PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced games, the best looking games for this Pro console. Be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well. All of these games are enhanced, taking full advantage of what the PlayStation 5 Pro has to offer. So we're going to be going over a wide range of games using a wide range of visual technologies in order to achieve better picture, better frame rates, and everything like that. So let's dive in and start with Warhammer 40k. Dark Tide. So this is basically a Left 4 Dead-like experience where you're working together cooperatively as a group of 4 to battle through the grim dark future that you have found yourself sort of thrown into through a bit of a prologue where you make a character and then you dive in, you start blasting things. This game is fantastic. It combines both of the visual modes from the base PlayStation 5 and uses pisser technology in order to give you a truly great looking visual aesthetic and a game that runs quite well. It is awesome compared to what it was before. Here we have Dying Light 2. This is an experience that actually gives you a plethora of different visual mode options and ways for you to play the game. Everything from a more advanced and complicated ray tracing setup to something that's a little bit higher for the frame rate. Enjoy zombie attacking and battling parkour as you survive against the various horrors of this last true human stronghold and or city, I guess, that exists in this particular timeline. Things are really grim, I guess, in the Dying Light universe. But yeah, the game itself offers many unique ways to enjoy this experience and just gives you choices. That's the coolest thing, is allowing you to have all of these different visual options and settings in order to play the game however you want. And it's actually quite technically impressive. Like, it's a large scale, you get a great draw distance, and the game itself looks pretty fantastic, especially since it is, kind of a number of years old. But yeah, it is a very, very good looking game and an impressive one at that, for sure. This is the Callisto Protocol. Not a game that I'm necessarily a fan of, but the visual technology here for the Pro is actually quite impressive. You get an 8K mode. If not, it goes to like a super sampled 6K down to 4K. And then there's also fluidity options, and yeah, I mean, it was already a very good looking game, where it's, kind of a Dead Space-esque experience. Very gruesome, very visceral, very violent, but now they've kind of taken that up a notch by just adding some additional visual settings that you can enjoy in order to just push the technology that much further. It really is quite impressive, seriously. It's the first 8K quote-unquote game I've played, which is fascinating, considering, again, not huge into this particular title, but for those that are, this is a great new way to enjoy something you might have liked or checking out for the first time, right? Dragon Age: The Veilguard, another game where it's kind of like, but I will tell you, compared to the base console, this is a massive visual improvement to this game. Like, just absolutely massive. Like, you can actually see the details in the characters. I don't know how else to really go over that. We're looking at this again from a purely visual, technical sort of, side and or direction, and this really is quite an enhanced game. Like, the difference is so night and day between the PlayStation 5 base version and then playing it here on the Pro. Like, you can actually, as I said, like, you could see the characters, the world runs better, runs smoother, you could see the detail within the environment and your enemies, and you could see the particle effects better, and it's just like a completely better experience. Like, it's doubled for resolution clarity. It's massively improved visually, like, such a difference for sure. Just like what we get here with Silent Hill 2 Remake. Yes, little bits of shimmering, but no, this is another one of those games where, for me, when I played this when it came out on the PlayStation 5, the game was very visually kind of blurry. You couldn't make out the details of like hair or clothing as well for characters, and there were some performance problems, and it was a very impressive game visually, for sure. It was a very graphic and violent and intense game. Now I have a chainsaw too, so it's even cooler. But the game really does now shine here on the Pro Enhanced offering. I really do think it makes a big difference, at least for me, being able to actually see the detail of the characters and to get a frame rate that is actually kind of smooth running. It's just fantastic to get a little bit of everything. Resolution, fluidity and just like the quality of the experience is such a bump up. A great game and a great excuse to revisit this one so soon. Here we have Assassin's Creed Mirage, which we basically have combined graphic modes for something that is a lot more detailed. You get a lot more draw distance, the visuals a lot sharper, a lot cleaner, and then just kind of smooth gameplay. Now this one does exhibit some screen tearing on the Pro, which you might find is a bit of an annoyance, but I just want to say overall, like, this is a much better offering and something that is quite bumped up in terms of detail. It just allows you to enjoy a game that was quite technically demanding just because you are back into a city that actually has verticality and depth and detail to its cityscape. And it's just like to see the draw distance and, you know, do all your stuff within the city. You feel like you're in a full expansive city. And to me, that is quite an exciting offering for someone that enjoys Assassin's Creed, and a Creed that went back to more of a traditional, tighter gameplay style. I really did appreciate that. Then we have Fortnite, which, you know, makes a lot of sense considering this is the forefront of Unreal Engine technology. So this one got a really, as of the time of doing this video, fresh upgrade. And this mostly impacts the 60 FPS mode. So if you play the 120 FPS mode, it looks a lot cleaner, looks a lot better, like basically locked 120 FPS, which is great. And if you're playing this core 60 FPS mode, you're getting like really high levels of ray tracing applied, mostly with the reflections technology. And I didn't even have a clip from the most recent season where they add a bunch of like water or shiny surfaces. You could really notice the difference just from like a vibrancy and like a realism standpoint. As silly as that sounds for Fortnite, it is quite a visual bump up, and certainly something worth taking a look at. Since Fortnite does have so many game modes and games existing within it, it's quite visually impressive, and one to watch too in the future. Here we have Star Wars Outlaws, which is a little higher on the list than some might expect, and there's some shimmering and stuff as they work to fix that up, but this is a game that they've done a lot of work to. They've been improving the experience, and you know, it's still kind of a little bit for me when I was working through it, was kind of going through the motions and whatnot. But from a technical standpoint, the difference is quite monumental, honestly. Like, you can actually see the detail, and this is a big thing for me on the Pro, is how blurry games were looking on the base PlayStation 5, and then to come here on the Pro and I can actually see the detail in her hair, in her face, the detail in the environment. I can actually make out the details in the distance, the characters, the enemies, the stormtroopers. They look shiny, they look like you can actually see the characters fidelity wise, like they actually are noticeable, and the performance is way better, and big difference and a big improvement for this really good visual Star Wars setup. Here we have Resident Evil Village. So this one's really cool because they're actually pushing more intensive resolution settings for this, and also giving us high frame rates. So you can just really bump this up to a super fluid, like 120 FPS, and still have incredibly clear visual picture. And it's just incredibly immersive too, especially when you're playing in the first person perspective. And YouTube really, again, does not do a lot of this stuff justice because we don't have the support for 120 FPS. Because like this is really quite an impressive bump up. And I didn't have access to RE4 in case you were wondering, so I just had Village. These are all games that I had access to, and I played most of the Pro Enhanced games. Everything I could get my hands on, and I think I did a pretty extensive job of covering all of these. I'm just gonna throw it out there again. But yeah, Village, really visually impressive. This looks great Pro Enhanced. And then we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So this one's quite cool because the 120 FPS mode looks so much cleaner and so much sharper with this Pro enhancement. But what's really cool is seeing the quality mode bumped up beyond that 60 FPS cap. So you're able to actually enjoy a much more fluid, sort of push to the max resolution setting. And to me, that just makes a very good looking game and series look that much better and play that much better and feel more fluid. And that in itself is really genuinely quite impressive. The biggest thing for me though is really the multiplayer, so I can actually more clearly see across both of the graphics modes whichever one I want to kind of push for. But you know, having quality and having a higher frame rate is a mind-blowing improvement in my opinion, and something that offers a lot for competitive play. It just allows you to see your foes and actually deal with them more effectively, in my opinion. Here we have another one which had a little bit of shimmering things, but Alan Wake 2. So this game, yet again, was another one of those games when I played it, the base quality of the experience was so blurry and, you know, like it looked really, really rough. But here, you can actually see fully the detail of like the character models, the clothing, the street level quality, the environment level quality. It is a world of difference. And this was already a very technically impressive Remedy game. They always are. But getting this pushed that little bit extra for me is such a night and day improvement, being able to have, you know, again, more fluidity, or, you know, also quality mode looks better too. But you get what I'm saying, where it's just quite a big bump up to make something I thoroughly enjoyed look and feel a lot better to play. And to me, that's what these Pro mid-gen refreshes are all about, is that bump to visual fidelity and quality. Here we have Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. So this one is really genuinely quite impressive. It's an older game. And yeah, some of the technology we have here was kind of shared a little bit prior with the base PS5. But now we're sort of getting a combined ultimate open world, ray-traced, you know, fluid experience. So we're not really losing anything here. You get incredibly detailed traffic, you get detailed environments, you get to literally see the ray tracing as you go about swinging by in the distance. It's also a very good and or, well, great game where you get to really feel like you're Spider-Man. I know, right? But seriously, this is an impressive bump up. And I think it's the oldest one on this list that really got enhanced like this. So yeah, great shout out to Spider-Man. Still just, oh, Insomniac nailed it there. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. So this one probably a little lower on the list than you might expect. Like, this is an incredible technical achievement. And, you know, we're pushing things with Pisser like we are in many of these, you know, kind of clips and stuff. But I will say this game is just mind-blowingly detailed and visually impressive. But it always kind of was. That's the thing. That's why I kind of put it a little lower, is I'm like, it always looked like this, right? But it just looks that much better, and it's that much more technically impressive. Like, we kind of already had it running with a better frame rate on the PlayStation 5, and it was like, you know, it was already visually kind of better, and, you know, the base PlayStation 4 when it came out, it was already like, wow, and, you know, the Pro taking that further. So it is incredibly great, but it's like, you know, the remastering, I was kind of like, oh, okay, sure, it's a great game and all that, but less blown away because it was already so good looking. It just looks better now. Like with Demon Souls. Gotta have a Dark Souls-like game, am I right? Or, well, the precursor. So this game was pretty much the big early on technical showcase of the base PlayStation 5. Very interesting to see them go back and actually give this one a little bit of love and making it, you know, kind of having that full combined fluidity and then resolution and then, you know, the extra little special visual details. It looks really clean. It looks really sharp. The particle effects of me dying to fire and blade are ever so clean. I don't know, this one really is quite impressive. It was impressive when I first checked it out to see what the PlayStation 5 could do. And now hearing on the Pro, seeing it like this, yeah, this is great. This is a fantastic offering and a fantastic upgrade to the Souls experience you know and love. Here's Gran Turismo 7, which is now the technical tip-top of racing games. The feat that they've accomplished here with the visuals is simply stunning. So you can go for sort of a really, really visually impressive, like, kind of quality mode, still getting 60 FPS. Or you can bump it up, and there's literally, like, a ray tracing mode. You might get some shimmering, but, like, at the end of the day, having, like, ray tracing in races, like, not cinematics, not, like, playback, not cutscenes, but actually having ray tracing in a racing game is a technical feat, and it looks just kind of breathtaking. And visually, this game is really, really stunning. So this one has definitely taken the crown for technical prowess in regards to vehicle realism and simulation. It's genuinely impressive and superb to take in. Just like that feeling I get of superb and stellar gameplay with Stellar Blade. Oh, this game is beautiful. It really is. I mean, it's got truly aesthetically pleasing individuals that are, you know, at the forefront of this experience, but they give you a wide range of different visual modes and settings that you can choose from no matter what you want to play at, and the game looks so good. Oh, just this opening segment where there's like explosions happening and chaos, and it's introducing you to this chaotic world. Really, truly beautiful. Like, this game was amazing looking on the base PlayStation 5. I truly do think it looks even better PS5 Pro Enhanced. Like, this is really, really quite visually stunning. Absolutely loved what this game had to offer. I thought it was a lot of fun. A little bit challenging, being a little Souls-like, but yeah, just definitely a good visit on the Pro for sure on that one. It's great looking. Just like The Last of Us Part 1, I guess you could call it the remake. I think the remake is called The Last of Us just Part 1. But this game came out not too long ago, and they're pushing it further, again, kind of like they're doing with the remastered one that came out even more recent. But the idea was they took the game that was remastered, and then they remade it to make it look basically on par with Part 2. And I think this one really does look quite visually stunning. And then on top of that, kind of pushing it a little bit further with the technologies that we have today. And I just think it's a really, really great looking game. It's super visually impressive. It's a great revisit if it's not too familiar or too recent for you. But yes, graphic, violent, intense, emotional, and something that really does look great on the Pro. I mean, I guess, you know, the second part looks great too, like I mentioned earlier, but this one I think just really is quite impressive technically. Just like Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. So I put this one a little lower on the list because this game is stunning. Hey, look, she looks so good in this. The visual modes look so good. But I put it a little lower because I just played it on the base PlayStation 5. Literally right, like, I think it was like a week or so difference between playing it on the base and then playing it on the Pro. And yes, it does look better on the Pro, but it already looked really, really good on the base PlayStation 5. So for me, it's a little bit more of a minimal gap between the two, if that kind of makes sense, where I'm sort of, oh, this is super, super visually impressive, but it's also like, well, it just kind of looks a little better than it did on the base PlayStation. So, you know, props for it being a technical showpiece, but also kind of like a little lowered because we just saw this on the regular PlayStation instead of the Pro. God of War Ragnarok, another big technical showcase for the PlayStation consoles. Just when you think this game can't get any more technically impressive, it just comes out and you go, oh wow, Kratos, you look even better than you did before. Amazing. So multiple graphics options. They push things even further with the Pro. Looks great, runs great. You have so many different options for combat and visuals, and yeah, this game's gorgeous. It really genuinely is. It is one of the most technically impressive and visually kind of groundbreaking games out there. And the funny thing too is, like, it's close aesthetically to its predecessor because, you know, it's very shared kind of technologies between them. But yeah, just the different environments and biomes you get to visit in this one, they look fantastic. It's really, really quite wondrous, and I think you'll have a lot of fun diving back into a bit of yelling. Here is the Crew Motorfest, which I don't know if this clip is really even the best showcase for this because it's got like a bit of a aesthetic vibe going on. But the Crew Motorfest absolutely shocked me. I wasn't expecting to be so impressed with this game like I was. They've basically combined the graphic options and you just get a visually stunning, fluid experience for a massive open world in Hawaii. It's grooving, it's a moving, and I just think this one really, really does look fantastic. There's something about games where, you know, they pop in and they're like, hey, colorful, vibrant, cool place, nice fun vibes, and then combining for this mid-gen refresh the different graphic options to give you basically there's no cutbacks. It's just one really truly great smooth running experience, and I think people will be really happy by that. This was a genuine shocker to me, and that's why it's so high up on the list. I didn't see it coming, but I did see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming. Didn't get to check it out when it launched, but you know, for the Pro, it was like, oh yeah, here you go, and I was like, oh, all right. So this game, another one of those absolute night and day differences. Like, you can actually see the detail in the characters, the detail in the hair now, the detail in the environment when you're fighting, in performance. Like, it's a new graphic mode you get for the Pro, but like the difference is mind-blowing because you can actually enjoy a fluid, good-looking game that is visually impressive, and you can actually see what is going on. Because I remember the base version of it just being, again, like a blurry mess. That's a lot of the games this gen. I think it'll be kind of recalled or remembered as a blurry generation of console gaming down the road. But like this game, wow, the difference between the graphics modes between the base PlayStation 5 and the Pro Enhanced offering, just incredibly different. Huge upgrade. And here with Marvel Spider-Man 2, which I was kind of surprised about because I was like, wow, Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, really great, yeah. And then I went and I played 2 here with the new sort of fully upgraded, you know, Pro Enhanced, open world, fluid, ray traced experience with up details and traffic, and it's, wow. It's amazing. It really is, like, it is a genuinely mind-blowing experience to be Spider-Man and enjoy a dynamic, interactive open world with symbiote interactions and additions and, you know, switching between characters on the fly. They really put together something special with this, and this enhancement here makes something that is a lot of fun that much more impressive. Like, it really is just mind-melting rolling through the city and being like, wow, I can't believe they actually achieved this on the console side of things. And that's the feeling you get with Horizon Forbidden West. So this game was really impressive when it launched on the base PlayStation 5. I mean, there's not many games as technically detailed and realistic and visually extensive like this one. And then you add in this game's focus on more colorful, vibrant environments. You just really get something that is absolutely just stunning. And here on the Pro, they've pushed it a little bit further, and I think you will be just blown away by this game. Like, it is so technically impressive. It is one of the best looking games you can see on a console visually. It's so detailed, and the level of like finesse in this game is just, yeah, it's something to tell people about. It really is what it is. It looks so good. Aloy's Second Adventure, visually just, oh, stunning, absolutely stunning. Just like with Baldur's Gate 3. So for me, this is a combination of this game being insanely impressive, and then here on the Pro, it just really looks good no matter which of the visual modes you go for. But now you can have kind of this balance of like a higher frame rate and a better resolution, and it just looks clean. Maybe it's not like as technically pushing as some other things I've mentioned, but just for me, the difference from the base PlayStation 5 to this one, it looks really great. Like, it's so detailed and sharp and clean, and the game itself also amazing. So, you know, you throw a little bit of love for what the actual experience has to offer, and then, yeah, you kind of mix it with the visual settings, and hopefully that comes across to you. But this is very impressive, this game. It's one we'll probably revisit for many years down the road for sure. And finally, we have the best looking of them all, Hogwarts Legacy. Blown away. There's lots of different visual settings you can choose from in this game, and you get to enjoy the world of Hogwarts in such beautiful detail. And it's also future-proofed, which is fantastic. But for me, the big difference is, again, clarity. You can see the details in your character better. You can see the details in your clothing better. The world itself, with Pisser, you can actually see the water detail. Like, the water doesn't look terrible. The detail of the environmental plants and trees and fauna and everything like that that you see outside and around Hogwarts or in Hogwarts. And the castle itself, It all looks amazing. This game is like the true showcase of what the PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced offerings are all about, and this is the true showcase for the mid-gen refreshes. Hopefully you found this list helpful. It was a lot of work. Liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and let me know your favorite games.